Yeah, just a couple seconds.
Welcome back, everyone, to Pod Huggers, an Alien Earth transmission brought to you by the DVR Podcast Network. Please find out more about us at dvrpodcast.com. You can become a patron, like Tracy, our newest patron, and so many others who help us independent podcasters stay on the air at patreon.com/DVR. You get no ads, you get early pods, and you also get a bunch of exclusive pods that we love to put up there. And it's a great library of everything we've done for about the past 8 years. If you're joining us for the first time and you haven't heard us before, my name is Axel. I'm joined here by my wonderful, gorgeous co host who's flying in the air like the star child of 2001, Ando. Ando, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm very, very excited to talk about this show and just to podcast with you. Someone that can challenge my intelligence on top of a mountain or whatever he
Oh,
said.
or flying through the, oh, yes, that's true. Or flying through there. You can watch us on YouTube. That's why I mentioned that Ando looks like the Star Child. And I have a nice little filter where I look like I'm in one of those marine cameras or something like that. So we're
Yep.
trying to add a visual element to the podcast here.
I'm still
If
orbiting from above. You're the poor fool that's going through the tunnels and probably about to get eaten or
yeah,
impregnated with
whoa,
something.
what was that noise I just heard behind me?
Yeah.
We are here to cover the first two episodes of Alien Earth. And obviously, they were played, released together FX, Hulu, Disney Plus, whatever you're watching. It's so funny that we did a preview where I was like, it's all going to be Disney Plus anyway. And then, and like 15 minutes later, they were like, Hulu's going away into Disney Plus. So
Yeah.
it made me seem rather smart that I called that. But everyone knew that was going to happen. But we're going to talk about both episodes kind of as if they were one. I think a lot of people watch them like that, so we're not going to split it up. We're going to go back and forth. We really are not, we're planning on not really doing a recap in so much as talking about the different ideas, though most often we do end up talking about events in order. Just to give a little background, if you've never listened to the DVR Podcast Network before, we've been podcasting since 2008. We started with Lost, me and Heath. Ando was a listener. He is now a podcaster with us since we just discussed 2019. Ando, going on 6 years as a
Yes, I know.
professional podcaster.
It seems like 57 years, but yes.
It seems like 65 years of deep
65 years, yeah.
hypersleep.
You know what? 57 years, I think, was how long Ripley was in hypersleep between
There
the
you
first two
go.
films. So,
Well, we have covered everything from Lost to Game of Thrones to what else have we covered? Breaking Bad, Better Call
Westworld,
Saul.
Mindhunter,
Yes,
Better
Mindhunter,
Call Saul,
Westworld.
I think.
We also we also covered the first season of Alcatraz. We
Duster,
covered
Severance,
Duster, Severance, that show on Apple TV with Colin Farrell that I can never remember the name of.
Sugar.
Sugar, though we covered it for a year or a
Yes.
season. This is what we do. We cover different shows.
Mayor of
Uh,
Kingstown will be coming back soon.
Mayor of Kingstown's coming back. And thank you. Just a shout out to a special person who got me in touch with Paramount Plus. We're going to have some great stuff coming up as far as Mayor of Kingstown goes. But we're here to talk about Alien Earth. Andy and I are both big fans of the franchise. We've seen everything. We know about the lore. We know about all that kind of stuff. But most importantly, we're here to talk about this television show and the show that Noah Hawley has created and this world that we have been thrust into. So let's get right into it. Andy, when both of these shows ended and you put down the remote control, what was your initial, what was the first thing you wanted to come on this show and say?
Um, we even got to the end of the first episode, 2 minutes in, I was blown away. I mean, 2 minutes into this freaking show, and it feels like you stepped right back onto the set of, or right onto the Nostromo from the first Alien, and not in a way that was pandering, in a way that like it felt natural. I actually didn't watch them back to back. I watched the first episode because I was busy that night, so I didn't get home till like 12:30, 1 o'clock. I watched the first episode and I thought I needed I actually gave it a day before I watched the second one, but after both of them, I think we're in awesome
Interesting.
hands. I've just blown away. I can't believe the production values. I think like I texted you. It feels like Game of Thrones level set decoration and sets and scale. The scale, I couldn't believe the scale of this for a TV show is
Yeah.
crazy. I don't know. What were your thoughts?
I totally agree. My mouth was open. I had promised my wife, I watch all TV with my wife, Perry, and I wasn't sure whether she was going to be into this because does like sci-fi and Marvel and all that, but this is a little bit more tends towards the foundation hard sci-fi, the Expanse Foundation, shows like that we love because we're sci-fi freaks, grew up reading it and living it.
Yes.
But for my wife, she likes more of the um, funner aspects of it, action aspects of it. So when it gets a little bit more deepy like this, she's maybe it doesn't, she loses interest. You know what I'm saying? Not that she's not deep, but in this particular genre.
Yeah, my wife, even though like one of I think what did she what how did she put it to me the other day? What do you call it? Like the people on your list, like so her one of her hall pass people is Timothy Oliphant. She loves Timothy Oliphant, and even Timothy in this could not pull her into watch the. She's watched the first two Alien films with me, and she's like, I recognize they're good films, but I never want to see these again. So
Interesting.
she had no
Okay.
desire to see this. So
See, I was very Perry loved it. She watched the two episodes eventually, but I had a little bit of a stomach virus, little stomach flu, details not necessary. And I was up late and I was like, I need something that will just keep my attention. So I kind of jumped on early before we were scheduled as a couple to watch the next
uh-huh.
day, and I watched the first half hour. Then I sat down and watched both episodes straight through with her. Then, of course, I watch them again for us to do the podcast. So I've watched both of these episodes multiple times. And even after rewatching, the budget, the production design, this is one of the most expensive, if not the most expensive shows on television right now. There's no doubt about that. The budget is extraordinary. They've already said it was more than Shogun, which was the most expensive show of that year. So it's probably going to be end up being, and it looks it too. It's not like a Disney show where they say it cost $85 million an episode for the bad CGI. This looked the homage of the way they made the Maginot and the Nostromo, and then when you say them together, it kind of sounds the same.
Uh-huh.
The homage in the cross dissolves or cross
Yeah.
fades or dissolves
Those
that
fade
people
ins
call
and
it.
outs.
The
Uh,
music, even the white balance was slightly yellowed like it is in Alien. Like it's
yeah,
just
that little tint.
the
Yep.
tint on everything is perfect,
Yep.
and it didn't feel fan servicey. It didn't feel jokey or like giving the audience a nod. It
Yeah.
felt like we're back in this world,
That's what I
and
mean.
I
It felt
think
natural. It felt
right.
natural.
And it totally as an homage to the first Alien film, whereas in later, when we meet our team, it feels a little bit like
Well, and
Aliens,
you know,
right? Like,
especially that first episode, I didn't notice it the first time I watched it, but this because the first time I just kind of let it soak over me and just like I do on a lot of shows I highly anticipate. And the
yeah,
second time, the first half an hour is basically Alien,
yeah.
or a version of Alien. The second half an hour is Aliens, and I was
It's
like, man,
I loved it, dude.
it
Yeah.
was so
But I
awesome.
think we're gonna stay there, right? Like
Hmm.
I think we're gonna stay in Aliens kind of because we are. We're not gonna be this show, it's not the technology isn't gonna start looking like Prometheus or any
Mm-mm.
we've already known from interviews that that's like the real inspiration, and also because of what year we're in.
However, the one thing about that, I listened to the official podcast, and they talked to Noah Hawley quite a bit on there. And I don't remember if it was Noah Hawley or if it was one of the other head writers that's on there. They very carefully say most of what is in this is drawn from the first two. He didn't I think we are gonna, I mean, we'll talk about when we get to some story stuff. I think we are gonna get some connections to Prometheus and I think some of that is
I
gonna
think
be it.
we
Even
are.
though they've kind of said,
Yeah.
no, 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 no. I think we're gonna see some stuff from that. I mean, with just
There's
the storyline stuff.
the more I thought about it and the more I read about it and the more I just thought about even the way the alien itself, the xenomorph acts.
Hmm.
Um, and when I started asking questions to myself,
Yep.
how did it what did it birth out of? How did
Yeah.
it get, what happened on the Maginot, right?
Yeah.
That whole backstory. I started feeling like this is going to connect to Prometheus
Well,
and
and
all the
those
engineer. It's going to connect to all this shit.
because even though, like they've said repeatedly, this takes place 2 years before Alien, this is only 31 years after Prometheus and 16 years after Alien Earth. So it's still all those things. And one of the major themes of those two was
Wait, 16 years after which one? After
Alien, or not Alien Earth, Alien Covenant. Sorry,
okay, okay,
the
yeah.
second Prometheus film, Covenant. And what was I going to say? And well, I mean, one of the big storylines in those things is David and how David tries to become human, or does he want to be human? What does it mean to be human? And
Right.
I mean, that's half of this show that we've watched so far is what does it mean to be human? What do you call yourself? What are you? I mean, there's to me, there's no way to. And in one of those interviews, Noah Hawley said that Ridley Scott has been on set. Like he walked in and he was like he couldn't believe how it looked just like the Nostromo back from 1979, and I think that it may not be blatant, but I think there will be a few ties in there here and there. I think there has to be.
I think that there will be, but I think for those people who are listening and those people who are watching, this is like a Game of Thrones kind of thing for us too, because there are going to be people who are coming into this relatively as newbies or as
Yeah,
NBRs, non
we're
book
gonna be the
readers.
annoying book readers this time.
Yeah. Well, we can, I think from what we saw already, I think it's safe to say that if you have a passing knowledge of the alien universe, everywhere from a passing knowledge to no knowledge,
Hmm.
you can still watch this show and
Yeah,
feel like you're learning new things and feel like what it can do is branch off from this point into those things.
yeah,
You don't have to have the
yeah. I
previous
don't think.
knowledge.
Yeah, I think they're gonna do it in a way where those of us that know will know and will appreciate it, but I don't think it's gonna be tied direct. Like we're not gonna have Charlize Theron show up or somebody that was in the. I
Yeah,
mean, we're not gonna see that kind of
there's a
stuff.
word for this, Andy, in our modern days of world building and film where you make a mythology. I can't there was I heard it somewhere, I read it somewhere. It's like it was playing on the multiverse.
Hmm.
Um it was like you when you make a mythology verse proof or something, basically where you tell the story and you you imagine in your mind that a person may be coming to it before or after, so
Yeah,
it can be approached from both angles,
from either
basically.
direction.
And
Yep.
I think it's a crafty way of writing, and so far from what we've seen, I think this accomplishes it. Because if you
Yeah.
didn't know anything, like my wife was asking me some questions like, hey, I thought the alien's saliva was acid when it went on the
Yes. Oh
cyborg's
man.
face. I thought it was acid. I said, "No, honey, actually the blood is acid, but the saliva is not because that echoes in other films, Ripley and other people having the saliva on their face and then, it's
And
not acidic."
I can't believe that I've now seen two pieces of media in the last like 3 months that feature a very memorable scene with a monster drooling on someone, the other being sinners. And I'm
Oh
like,
yeah.
what the hell is going on with this?
A
So
lot of
it's very
drool.
strange, but yeah, that scene
Uh,
was awesome.
and it's the kids these days. They like the spitting and the Haktua and
I
the
know.
drooling, and
What the hell?
they get bored, man. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Kids these days. The internet, it ruins everything. So they just have to get down to the basic, let's just spit and piss on each other, right?
Yes.
Which this show has both of, I think. But anyway, um, where were we there?
Um, well, just talking about the entry point
Oh,
for
yes. Talk
people and
about, so my wife had some questions, right? and
Has
she's
your wife
seen the
is your
other
wife familiar
movies.
with the Alien universe at all, or
She's seen some. She has never seen. I don't think she's ever seen Alien. No, she saw Aliens, but I think she said she didn't like it or
yeah.
she lost interest or something. Which I think
Hmm.
now we'll watch it again, and I think, or maybe it was too scary. But
Yeah.
anyway, I think that it serves both ways. So I think we'll talk about it in that way too. We'll mention some stuff, but we're not wedded to it.
Yep.
But let's start at the beginning. We already talked about the whole Maginot stuff is amazing. The way they deal with it. I thought the flash kind of forwards and then the flashbacks
Yeah.
telling us the story of, okay, basically this is the Nostromo, right? An alien gets out and this guy's
It's
Ripley.
or is he or is this alien, but he is Ash, and at this time
Yeah,
Ash
that's
wins.
yeah, that's true. That's true. That's interesting. But what did you think about the decision to not do like a full episode of them going out and getting the creatures and then going into hypersleep and then waking up inside the solar system
I
and
I think it was brilliant because this is why. Because one of the big problems with prequels, and I think this is part of why, as an example, then one of the problems with prequel TV shows, especially, well, the example I will use is House of the Dragon, where I was down on that compared to most. I still enjoyed it, but they take so long to set everything up. And it's like, you know what? Just trust us. Hang on for the ride. We'll get there eventually. We'll get there eventually. This, it throws you right into the boiling water right away, and it grabs you. And that, I mean, instantly. So I like that they didn't. It's like some shows or some movies, like I said, prequels especially, you know what's coming eventually, but they just want to keep teasing it out for 5 episodes or 6 episodes, and
yeah.
this one they get right to it right away. I What I've still loved an episode of them going to all these planets and picking up all these weird plant things that is it presents as what the hell does that line was so awesome about the plant it presents as floral but it might be fauna or something
Yeah.
lines like just I would love to see them capturing all that stuff, and maybe we will see some flashbacks because some of the Maginot crew are very notable people. I mean, they're notable actors. Like
I
Ragabi from Severance is the main doctor there, and she's in this show for 2 minutes. So I mean, it would not surprise me to go back to those things, but I loved how they did this.
I was so excited by this, and it's like an old technique that people don't want to use, because they kind of don't want to fuck with the chance that they could go and do a prequel series. So let's
Hmm.
just leave that open. Or back in the day, we could do webisodes of what happened on the Maginot.
Yeah.
And we should mention the name Maginot, if it reminds you of something from history class, which it did to me, and I know the Maginot Line. The Maginot Line was the line that the French created to stop the Nazis. It cost a bunch of money. The Nazis just went around it.
Yeah, it's like a
So
big
it
wall type of thing.
right. So what Maginot basically stands for is a big expensive thing that's supposed to protect you that in the end does nothing, right? Which
Hmm.
we're
Yeah.
watching the show, okay,
Yeah.
which is we're all about. I mean, we haven't even gotten into the whole capitalism,
Yeah.
boy
It's
cavalier, Elon Musk shit and all. You know what I'm saying? Like
yeah.
this is so prophetic.
Yeah.
But those of us who have been fans of the franchise, for me, I love the monsters. We talked a little bit before in our intro about the best movie theater experience I ever had was seeing Aliens opening night when I was 10 years old at a movie theater in Long Beach Island, hot as
Hmm.
fuck, packed with people, not even
Oh,
knowing what they were going to see, except that the guy who did the Terminator did an Aliens movie. And
yeah.
we were like, what the fuck? And my cousin it was crazy. It was an amazing experience. But something that always stuck with me was Wayland Yutani, and
Hmm.
that the future of America and the world would not be governments but corporations. And I mean, we're living that right now.
Yeah.
So I thought that's the deeper stuff. So that's what Maginot Line means. Okay,
Yeah, I think we'll
we'll
we'll have time to. I'm sure we'll have episodes we can
we'll have
dive into
10
that.
episodes. Yeah, we'll have eight
Yeah,
episodes to talk about, or seven more.
yeah.
But I thought it was brilliant to do this. I loved the editing. I love the editing and the music, the flashes, the way that if you slowed it down, you could literally see how everyone died,
Hmm.
right? You were like, okay. I also love, again, we talked about the homage to Alien. It's the same shot where they slowly get up and then they sit
Yeah.
down and the guy's
And
smoking
they
and
go to
it's,
breakfast. Yeah, they got the
yeah,
same kind of cigars.
I was waiting for someone to take out a knife and start doing the hand
I
thing.
mean,
You
the
know what I
actor who
mean?
plays Morrow even looks like Yaphet Kotto. I
He
mean, he looks
does.
very similar to
Yeah.
him. There's no question
Oh,
about it.
he's
It's
playing him too, because
yeah.
remember in Alien, Yaphet Kotto was like, "Bleh," like he was just not, he was
Well,
very direct and
I would say this guy's a little cooler customer. He's a little because Yaphet Kotto still gets pretty pissed off a few
he was
times, and
angry. He was
yeah,
very
which
angry.
and I would be angry if I was in his position too,
Well,
because
he
he
had a
kind of
different
gets
job.
yeah,
He had a
yeah.
different
He was a
job than this
mechanic,
guy has. Yeah, he
one of
was
the
pissed
mechanics.
off.
Yep.
It was hot too.
Yeah.
Um, but I thought all of that was brilliant. The interplay between how the guy smoking the cigarette is talking to the, I think she is a French woman. He's like, "Hey, beautiful," and they all kind of
Hmm.
get quiet. But then
Yep.
she's like, hypersleep is so weird, or like they're just kind of talking to each other, and Tang is mesmerized and almost touching the woman like who's in still in
Looking at
hypersleep.
the he's one of the reasons why I think we're going to see a little bit more of what happened on
Yeah,
that trip because that's I don't know and is he one of we kind of skipped over we actually skipped over the title crawl at the beginning too where they've introduced two major new sci-fi elements into the alien universe we've never seen before to my knowledge, cyborgs and hybrids too. I mean, we've never
well,
seen
we
them
didn't
in
skip over it, Ando. We're talking
well,
about it
yeah,
right
but I
now.
mean that's the thing at right at the beginning that they say, and I'm wondering
Yeah.
if he is some one of those type of things where there's because he doesn't seem he seems
Well,
weird,
based upon the fact,
seems kind of ashy. I thought like Ash.
um, interesting. That that is, I had thought about that too, but based upon the fact that Morrow is a cyborg, right?
Yes.
I felt that the treatment of Tang was based on his sexual predatory nature. He seemed to be a predator, like he was standing over looking at that woman. When he sat down next to the other woman, he sat on her, like he didn't even sit
Yeah.
next to her. He was like sitting almost on her lap, and she had to move over. He was so creepy. I
Well, and
think that there's just a story there, Ando. It's a psychological thing.
that's why I got Ash vibes because there's Ash does some weird shit like that in that first Alien film. Like when he tries to smother Ripley, he does it with a rolled up porno mag and stuff like. I mean, there's some weird like something sexually is not quite working
Psychosexual.
there, and
Well,
that's why I'm
that's,
wondering if he's maybe a replicant or a synthetic of some kind.
I like that too, because it could be that we never find out anything more about this,
Yeah, and
Ando.
that'd be fine too. I like the ambiguity too, or
Yeah,
ambiguity, excuse
ambiguity,
me.
yes. And that Tang is a metaphor or an homage or a, I don't know what word you would use, a signal to the inherent kind of sexism that existed throughout the first two Alien films. Throughout, I mean, Ripley is a seminal female action hero in American culture. And who she represents and what she represented at the time when this film came out to James Cameron himself, too.
Yep,
If you read interviews, that was very purposeful what he wanted to do with this character. James Cameron is like a very progressive dude, and he wanted to have a strong female character.
I
And
would most of his films do. I mean,
I
that's
was just
throughout his
watching,
whole.
yeah, I was just watching The Abyss. And what
Hmm.
is the, as far, you know what I mean? It's all about the interplay between the sexes,
Yep,
right? And the politics and the control and the aspects and all that shit. And I think maybe Tang, if we never find out anything more about him, what I kind of settled on upon thinking about this show was that he represents that. It's Noah Hawley saying, okay, I'm really dealing with something else over here with kids in android bodies and technology and capitalism and AI. But the first films dealt heavily with sexual politics, and so I'm going to give a nod to that by pointing by um, basically pushing this creeper guy out in the first 5 minutes of this show, right? Like we're
Well,
gonna out him really quickly.
and all those flashes, was there something that showed Tang what happened to him? I
There
missed that.
was, yeah, there
Because the other thing
was.
I was just thinking of is maybe he's acting like that because he's infected with something.
That is a great point, Ando, because what I was going to say is in the flashes that I saw, and I had to make a decision as we are Lost fans of how deep we go to freeze
I know I
framing
didn't. I
things.
normally I would pause screen
Yeah.
those things, but I didn't do that this time. Maybe I should
We
have.
got to make a decision here, Ando. And I was like,
Yeah,
look, bro, we're a half an hour into this podcast and we just started, okay?
I know.
So if we start freeze framing motherfucking shit,
Yeah,
we're gonna get on Dark UFO and start dropping new blog posts, okay, about how Jack and Kate are brother and sister. But
yeah.
anyway, I think it seemed to me there was an indication through the visuals that he did turn on the crew and that he may have been the first person infected because
Okay,
you see him going kind of like like there's a quick like face and then later on you see his chest and it looked that's what I saw. Other
okay.
people may have seen other things, but from the and then the doctor, it looked like she got killed in the lab, and then
Yep.
obviously we saw what happened to the last woman because we saw her there. That
Hmm.
was just but before Morrow snuck down into the escape pod. Mother, open the.
Yeah,
I
the
love Mother too.
shock. I think it's shock room. I think he called it.
Shock room. So yeah, Maginot, amazing. Also, let's talk a quick thing, which is a lot of fun. The show begins by telling us that this ship was on a 65-year journey. It is now assuming, Andy and I talked about this a little bit, we're not sure if faster than light travel exists at this point, though it does exist in the alien universe because it is referenced, I believe, in an alien, in a, I think it's a game, that there's another company that creates faster than light travel.
One of the other companies. Okay.
Right. That does create faster than light travel. So, classically in science fiction, you enter hypersleep when the ship goes into faster than light travel because of the stress it puts on your body and all that. Even in Foundation, you're not supposed to stay awake when you're
Yep.
in going through hyperspace, right? In other shows like Star Trek and Star Wars, they hit a button and then they're there. They don't even worry about that. It's a different thing. This does tend more to be in the more hard sci-fi realm where they do deal with the actual consequences of faster than light travel. So it could be the Maginot actually left Earth in the year 2055.
Yeah, which is pre-Prometheus by like almost 40 years.
Yes. So the Maginot left Earth on a mission to find alien life in 2055. It is a Weyland-Yutani uh,
Ship.
ship. At
Yep.
the time, though, it may have just been a Weyland ship, right? Because
Or Utani. Yeah.
or a Yutani, and then they got together because previous just we don't for people who don't we don't have to always get into we're just going to mention this stuff if it's new to you whatever but they did at one point they were two separate companies in the alien lore.
Hmm.
Whether that's going to become important to us, who knows, but it is important to understand that these people left Earth in 2055. They went out maybe with faster than light travel, right? They went to so far places that were so
And
far away. Time was slower for them because they were traveling faster, and whereas it went at normal
well,
speed,
and they were also in hypersleep for large chunks
and
of
they were
that.
in
So
yes, they were in
the
hypersleep as well.
the other thing that's interesting about that is 65 years, that's before Boy Cavalier was born. That's before the Utani we talked to was born.
Yep,
So
yep.
they probably don't even have any clue what they're in for.
That's what I find ultimately fascinating about the Maginot in particular, and the choice to tell us explicitly
Hmm.
that it took off 65 years ago. So it now is, it seems to be breaking out of faster than light travel as it enters the Earth's solar system, which is also a typical sci fi thing because it has to slow down and it takes 4 months to get through the solar system to land on Earth. In that 4 month period of time is when the attack by the alien occurs, when the xenomorph attack occurs. The
Yep.
scene we see is just that I would posit they are just entering the solar system and they have 4 months until they get to Earth or the outskirts of the solar system, right?
Yeah. Yep. And
Okay.
well, in the we've seen this before too, where things can be infected before they go into cryo sleep and then wake up. So that could have been done a long time ago.
Yeah, exactly. We have no idea the whole mission they were on, the people they
Yep.
lost. I love this. I mean, we could keep on talking about it. We're gonna push forward, but I think it is interesting to note that when it took off and how long it's been gone, because it does really speak to the world that they live in. But it's also important to understand that that's not the same 2055 that we live in, right?
Hmm.
Because Alien, the film, came out when? 79?
79. Yep.
So in 1979, you have to, it's such a weird thing to think about in your mind, right?
Yeah.
But it's actually kind of farther in their mind. Like, I love the way Noah Hawley did that. Like, he pretended not only was he making a show that took place 2 years before Alien, the movie, but we're going to actually think like we are right taking like
Yeah.
we live before that too. So when this ship left, it was a more advanced world than the one we're living in now. Like
Hmm.
this universe is 2025 probably looked way more advanced, or in the next 20 years we're really in for it, which we probably are, by the way.
Yes. There's just because we're talking about some of the company stuff too there, and the being out in space. There's some, and I'm sure they were important, like the history, the civics lesson that the one guy is giving to the other kid on the Maginot. Weyland-Yutani also
Yeah.
controls Mars and Saturn, and a company called Dynamic controls the moon. So there's a lot of stuff going on other planets in the solar
Yep.
system as well, if you're controlling them. There's so many damn cool things happening in this, and even in the first 10 minutes, that there's so much stuff added to the lore that's awesome. Because
Well,
I don't
I
think
think
that's ever been mentioned before in the in any Alien universe stuff. I don't think. Well, at least
what's
on the
that?
movies, just that Mars and Saturn are being controlled, and the
You know
moon is
what?
being controlled, and
I think that I was saying this to my wife too, which is kind of funny, that there's so little mythology in the first two Alien movies.
hmm.
I mean, people, we are older folks, Ando, so we remember a time like in the Alien movie when you just saw the engineer and the big ship, and that's all
Yep.
you saw. And for 30 years of your life, you were like, what the fuck was that?
Yep.
And you would look at pictures of it and you'd watch Alien again. You'd go, remember that big fucking giant alien in Alien? And
Yeah.
people would be like, oh yeah, the beginning of the movie. And then they go down and they see. But now we have the whole Prometheus.
Yeah. It's really, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So they kind of like, it really, it really dragged it out. But we're here now.
Do you like the idea that there's cyborgs and hybrids now?
That's what I wanted to talk about. Since we did kind of talk about the Maginot, which I think was important, we're going to move into the world we live in now. We talked about the five companies, and then, as you mentioned before, we have the three kind of, we have basically four life forms that are five life forms that we're dealing with. Alien, of multiple types, right?
Yep.
Multiple types of alien. Humans, which we're humans, we think we may be AI. Cyborgs, cybernetically enhanced humans, human beings who have robotics inserted into them. Synths, wholly artificial, artificial minds, artificial
Yep.
bodies.
Which is
That's what
that's the same as Ash or Bishop or Call in the
Kirsch,
fourth one. Yeah,
right?
Kirsch. Yep.
So Kirsch is a synth and Morrow is a cyborg. And hybrids, which is what this show is about,
Hmm.
which are basically synths with human minds. So synthetic beings with transferred their consciousness into a human mind, which meaning they have reached Fidelio.
Yes. Fidelity. Yes.
Well, I like the Italian version.
Yeah, yeah.
Fidelity, yes. For those Westworld fans, what all of Westworld was about, this is about the same thing, and so are so many other sci-fi shows. Really rich old white guys wanting to live forever by
Hmm.
using other people to experiment on them to create eternal beings.
Which is basically what Prometheus is about.
Yeah. And which is kind of what Foundation is about, too.
You're right. True. I
um,
thought it was, I kind of like that they brought cyborgs and hybrids into this, even though we haven't seen them before and it's a prequel. I think it's a pretty easy to see how they can
love it.
be written out of it
Yeah.
when this series is over. I think it's an awesome idea to put in
Dude, they're
there.
bringing out the sci-fi kitchen sink. And I like that they start off by telling us that and setting up this world because essentially this show is about Wendy and the Lost Boys and Kid Cavalier as
Hmm.
much as it and the life that they have. Are they life? What are they? And how we are going to compare that to the alien itself, the xenomorph itself, right? What is
Yep.
it? Why does it exist? Why does it live? Just to kill? It's invincible. Isn't Wendy invincible? If she wanted
Hmm.
to, couldn't Wendy kill all the people in that room, similar to how the xenomorph
Well,
did?
one of the things I thought was interesting too was how easily Morrow takes that xenomorph down. We've never seen anyone handle a xenomorph
No.
like that before, ever. Even when Ash and Bishop, I mean, they got destroyed by those things. Oh no, Ash got destroyed by the other crew member, but Bishop got his ass whipped by that thing in Aliens.
Yeah,
So
he sure did.
I thought that was just I thought that whole thing was cool with and I think that's in the second episode, but the he shoots that stun gun and then puts him in that weird
But
like
Andy, that is where this is what I talked about with Perry asked me the same question. She's like, "Did we ever see someone defeat an alien like that?" And the answer is no.
no.
That maybe in a video game, maybe in the Dark Horse not comics or novels. I've read a lot of the novels, and I don't remember that either.
Yeah.
Maybe the Predator had some knew how to do it, but it
Yeah.
seemed to be connected to the fact that the alien has a metal its exoskeleton is
Yeah.
like that, it's like a shell, but its teeth are metal. And when he shot it, you saw the electricity still pulsing in its
Yeah.
teeth.
Yeah, I think
And
they've been referred to in some, and I don't remember if it's in one of the movies or what, but biomechanical is what they've been referred to before. The xenomorph itself,
yeah, that
which,
it's like yeah, it's like an
yeah,
organic,
it's
yeah,
almost a cyborg
exactly.
itself. It's biological and metal in it. Yeah, it's,
Well,
and
of
we
course
kind
we
of,
know.
well, I was gonna say, we
Go
also
ahead.
kind of saw a cyborg in Aliens when Ripley goes into the power loader. That's almost a cyborg kind of a thing at the end of that film. So I thought it was a cool way to go with this.
Andy, that's really an interesting idea that you had right there, isn't that? That's kind of wow. You're right, dude.
Yeah,
That's really
it's,
true. That's kind that yeah, that's almost like a it kind of continue it's kind of like farther down the line, right?
yeah.
Like it grows out of that, like it evolves into
Yeah, it's like
that.
an
That's an
early
interesting
iteration of it
idea.
kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah, I think all this stuff is fascinating. I don't think we've seen that gun, but also see how the gun is, it almost seems to be specifically geared towards capturing an animal
Yeah.
like this.
Oh, it's
So,
definitely a hunting type of weapon for
and
sure.
that was their job,
Yep.
right? Their job was to go out and hunt and find these different creatures to create the
Yeah,
doctor's menagerie, right?
they were specifically sent there to with those kind of tools. Like I've heard
Yeah,
people complain before, like, well, how does one alien destroy everybody in the first alien ship? I was like, because they were truckers. They're not hunters and killers. And
exactly.
it's granted the second
That's
one has
why
got Marines, but that's a whole different
But
situation
that's
there.
why there are Marines in the second one, right? Like
Yeah.
James Cameron was like, "Fuck it, you would send in
Yeah.
the big guns, right? You got to
Send in
get
the
Bill
yeah.
Paxton.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Oh no, come on.
Why don't you put her in charge then? Yeah.
God, man, the
I could
two
quote
what
Paxton lines all day long from that film.
Mark Hamill and Bill Paxton could whine like no one else in film. Bill Paxton was such a good. I just
Yeah,
Oh my God. Just think of Weird Science, man. God, holy shit.
he's so great.
Anyway,
True Lies,
he
he's
was
also
great.
great in
He
that
was
with
so
the
great.
whining. Yes.
But um, so yeah, they have all these tools. Or did they create this gun? Did it take 10 other people on the Maginot to die
Yeah,
before
because
they
they've
figured out we
there
got to
was a
use
couple
this
lines
gun? Or
there was a couple lines dropped about how many people died
yeah.
to make
So
this
I think
happen.
that's awesome. So the fact that Morrow was ready and when that happened, I thought that was awesome and incredible.
Yeah,
Everything with the xenomorph was awesome. I thought it looked
and
incredible and it acted interesting too. That's something to talk about.
I was gonna say before you go to that part, the look. I love that it's a man in a suit. I love
Me
that
too.
look because
Me too.
it had been so much of it had been CGI in the last few things we've seen, and this is back to the old school. And I thought the design of it was
Thank
awesome in
you.
this.
Listen, Ando, we've been talking about this on this show for years. I think everyone in Hollywood knows and any artist knows that that what looks the best is a mix.
Hmm.
When you mix the practical and the digital together, and when these departments, because they're separate departments in a film, just like in a company, when these departments are actually work together, when they're the same department,
Hmm.
when you have an effects department that is both practical and special or CGI digital, and they work together to create this. That is the key. Because, folks, I saw Fantastic Four, okay? And that was a fun movie. But the thing looked like my fucking kid drew it with a fucking crayon. It was
It's
awful.
it's a
Like,
little cartoony.
a little?
Yeah.
A little? It was
That's actually why I
ridiculous.
was late to watch the first episode of this because I went to Fantastic Four that evening
Yeah.
for research for one of our other podcasts that we were going to do. So
And I'm
yeah,
not getting into a whole
yeah,
Marvel or blah, blah, blah thing.
this
But
is a
we,
whole
and
different thing. But
yeah,
you
and
know,
I mean,
speaking of what you're talking about too, on the official podcast, one of those two they're like 35-minute ones. Podcasts are
yeah, they're
actually nice to
great.
listen
They're
to,
very good.
and they talk to the guy who is the man in the suit, and he talks about how it was a melding of the two and how great the
Yep.
whole team was, and he actually came from some of the Planet of the Apes films. He did a lot of the ape stunt
I
work.
didn't even listen to that, Ando,
Yeah.
that part of it, and I knew it
Yeah,
because
it's on the second pod. It's quite good
everybody
listening to
knows.
him talk. Yeah.
You know it. I know it. Joe
Hmm.
on the street knows it. If you actually sat down and talked to him about it and he cared enough, he'd say, you know what, you're right. It's best when they kind of do the things together.
Yeah, they meld it
But we
together.
know about this shit, so we know how the sausage is made. And Noah Hawley is amazing. Now, I did listen to The Watch talk about this show, and we were getting on him about, he's in it. He's the dad. He
Yeah.
plays Wendy
Yeah,
and
I
Joe's
listened to the segment where
father.
they talked about this show too.
Yes,
Yeah. After
I
you
had
sent me the
none of
thing.
these issues. I have
I
none of
didn't
the
either.
issues with his baseball stuff and him putting an. That's only because frickin' Greenwald knows him and is jealous that his show got canceled.
That's
Anyway,
it kind of came off that way listening to it.
it totally was terrible.
Yeah.
Anyway, I
I
I
disagreed with a lot of their complaints about this show, honestly.
me,
So,
me too. But there are some things we're going to get to that are a little weird that we do have to talk about. But so
mhm.
far, I mean, I really thought everything was fantastic. Where were we at, Ando? Bring me back to the world.
We were just talking about the xenomorph itself. Oh,
Yes,
you know what
it
I did love?
looked.
I would not have had it on my bingo card, but the xenomorph crashing a Barry Lyndon reenactment was so freaking amazing. When that guy opened the door, I'm like, what in the hell is that? I knew right away I'm gonna love this show because that is
That
so
is,
random and crazy, but I loved it.
but that is classic. Okay, so we're talking about episode two when Joe is trying to escape the xenomorph, and what he walks into is a rich person's party where they're dressed up like
Yeah,
Victorian
Victorian,
era
yeah,
people, and with the makeup and the hair and
the
the
ultra
wigs,
rich, yeah.
ultra rich shit. And isn't that immediately when the guy opened the door, I was like, Noah Hawley, this motherfucker, he can't stop. I loved it because nothing speaks more to the pompously idiot rich people than having
Hmm.
some stupid party like this and then ignoring it was like out of an 80s movie too, wasn't it? It was
Yeah,
these things are coming back in our I think this thing was so prescient for that part too because you see it
it's
in theaters too. Now all these rich poor comedies are coming back
Yeah.
like trading places, like when in the Reagan 80s, right?
Yeah.
Now we're in this time where we
Well,
got
and
all our rich people back
there
again.
was one of the things Noah Hawley said on that pod too was that when he looks into a show, he aims to go for the zeitgeist of what's going on in the world right
Yeah,
now. So he's like, whatever material I'm working on, I purposely try. So he has said, I have purposely tried
definitely.
to do this. So
Yeah. And
I'm
I
sure
love
I'm
and
sure we'll see more of it.
it shines through. It
Hmm.
fits, right? It fits. And what does the guy say too? He also has to fucking name drop Kid Cavalier,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. I know him. I'm on the
So
board or whatever. Yeah.
we're in the same club, I think he
Hmm.
said.
Yeah.
And that's so typical
Yeah, that's
too.
right. The same club.
I
Yeah.
loved, yeah, I thought the xenomorph looked and acted very interesting. One thing to note, some different xenomorphs act differently. And
Hmm.
sometimes it depends on what they were born from, what they incubated in, because they
Yep.
don't just incubate in humans. They
Hmm.
can incubate in other it doesn't I we've only seen mammalian species, I think, that they've incubated in, but I
I
think it
think so.
has,
Yeah.
right, it has to be some sort of other animal that they can
Well, and
incubate in.
also, I think, and this is one that I don't think many people talk about in the Alien universe, but how old the alien is. Because that's one of the other things. Like in the first Alien, that Xeno that they're attacking is only a few days old. In the second Alien, or Aliens, that queen has been there for months. And so they've learned a whole lot more. Like
Yeah.
I've heard a lot of common complaint be like, how could they be smart enough to cut the electricity? Because those aliens are older. They have learned things. They're older. So we have no idea how old this alien is, how smart it is. I think is
Well, we have very little idea about alien culture, civilization, other than
yeah.
they seem to act as an ant-like or insect-like
Hmm.
hive mentality. They seem to be able to communicate over long distances through the use of either telekinesis, like ESP, or some sort of like
Yeah.
bird thing where they
Well, I
can.
think it's kind of almost confirmed that
Yeah.
the queen can do that for sure. Which are we going to see a queen? That's the only spot we've ever seen eggs come from in this universe is from the queen.
Well,
So,
that's the question too. Did they take those eggs, or
yeah.
were those eggs birthed over the 4 month period that
Yeah.
the ship? How long? Because the when the Maginot crashes initially into that space station, which very much resembles the space station that Ripley is on when she wakes up on Alien 2. I mean,
Very, very
Aliens. I
much.
shouldn't say Alien 2.
Which would be
Aliens.
like close to 60 years after this takes place.
Maybe they rebuilt it.
Hmm.
Um, uh, we are seeing that Morrow is just getting into the safe hatch, right?
Yeah.
We don't know how long they all survived on the ship with the alien attacking them, but my guess would be not fucking long.
No.
So I
No
think
way.
that I think they went back and they woke up, they went back to sleep. For how long? We don't know because
Yeah, well,
and
they said it was 4 more months to get there, but like I said, we don't know how long
we
they
don't
were.
know, right? We so it also could be that there was already a queen that was on the ship while they were in hypersleep that was laying those eggs.
Well, because at least one of those hypersleep tubes had the thing punched through the glass, and that was
Right.
somebody that was in a hypersleep tube, I think, wasn't it?
But I one thing I did miss, and this is the God, you always have a million things when you're rewatching. You want to see,
Yeah.
but I thought that I remembered in the initial scenes of the Maginot when they awaken from hypersleep that someone is monitoring the eggs. So I think they already knew that they were there. I
Yeah.
think they
Okay.
took the
So maybe they're
eggs.
taking they harvested them from somewhere. That
Right.
would make
I
more
think
sense than
yes.
an alien queen being on the
Yeah.
ship. I mean that.
And by the way, is it just like standard that the eggs come with a little laser light show?
Do you know the just because I've listened
Every
to the
movie
comment
has that.
just because I've listened to the commentary on the first one, do you know why that was even there? That where
I'm
that
gonna
came
guess
from?
it
The
was
like
just so you could
the
see the smoke.
no, I mean the production of where it came from. Where that like it came from a specific place. Ridley Scott has said that the Who, the band The Who, was shooting some video like in the lot next to them in London, and he saw the light thing there, and he's like, "Hey, can we borrow that for this scene?" They borrowed it
Oh,
from The Who.
I see, Ando. And
Like I say,
ladies
I'm
and
obsessed with
gentlemen,
those first two episodes,
but I
or
want to say
first
though,
two movies, I should say.
I
Sorry.
always love when we have a first episode of a show, Ando, and I'm hoping that there's new people listening to us who know that we are the kind of geeks who love this shit because the magic of creating an art and film is that. It's not that somebody intricately planned a
Yeah,
light to go over the alien. It's that you have a really creative motherfucker who's awesome and goes, that looks awesome, put it in there now. And
yeah.
it becomes an iconic look for generations of people and it inspires them. Why? Because a moment of trusting his instincts and his inspiration
Ridley
and his
Scott walked next
creativity.
door and saw the Who doing this thing, and it's like, hey, I can
And
use that. Yes.
that's why we have the artists making shit, not the bean counters like Paul
Yeah.
Reiser. Okay,
Yes.
and
Yeah, yeah. No
that's
Paul
why I
Reiser.
always hated Waylon Yutani as an
It's
artist. That was a, you know, how many, going back to when the first day you met me, Ando, I probably was saying, oh, Waylon Yutani's coming back. Like I'm always calling, using that as an example.
yes.
Um, but yeah, so that's an interesting point too. I think the way the xenomorphs behave, the way the eggs, the face huggers, we have to take into account that there is a long and varied history of this species, right? With many different films. Noah Hawley is taking his own way around this, but he may end up using some of that in a
Hmm.
way that is more fun. So far, though, it seems to me this alien does go on its fours a lot, right?
Yep.
And it kind of harkened back to my mind. And then I was reading something. I was like, oh, yeah, that was kind of an Alien 3. Remember when it was like born out of like a cow or some
Yeah.
shit?
Well, depending on which cut you look at, one is a
Okay,
cow and the other one is a dog, I think.
right. So that can actually affect how the alien behaves.
Hmm.
So the ones that come out of humans may be smarter and have more human
Yeah.
tendencies, whereas those born out of cats, dogs,
Hmm.
cows would then have that. So maybe this was born out of like a lion or something. It looks almost like it moves like a cat,
Yeah.
right? So
Well, and
I
we know
thought
they
that
had
that
cats on
was
the ship because that one cat was possessed by the
the eye
amazing
creature. Yeah.
eyeball octopus thing. Man, that thing was, and there's a name for it. There was a, what did I have on the notes there? I found it on that article. T. ocellus. Yeah, the eyeball octopus is what I called it. But and
Yeah.
the thing that the on the screen, there's a, I didn't take the screenshot, but somebody else did. That one said that of that one was they think it might be as intelligent as a human. That eyeball thing is what the
Wow.
screenshot, because like when Tim Oliphant plugs in and you can see a bunch of the stuff that's on the screen. Yeah, it says Ocellus has shown remarkable problem-solving abilities at a near human level measure. So,
It says the tentacles carry extraordinary strength and are built to climb into and dislodge the eyes of other living organisms. Once replaced in the eye socket, it takes over the ocular pathways to the brain, overriding the neurotransmissions throughout the body.
oh
Nice. That's
God,
awesome.
those
And
creatures are so freaking cool,
the
man.
plant pods, we don't have much more information. The flies are in containers, the ticks, they fed on the rats, and then they fed on our friend. Those of
Oh,
you who have watched White Lotus, this is shot in Thailand. And those of you who are fans of White Lotus may have said, hey, that looks a lot like the security guard Guy Talk from
uh-huh.
White Lotus getting a fucking tick suck his blood out while he's handcuffed to
God,
the
that
thing.
was so gross, dude. It
My
just blows up like
moral,
a balloon and just falls
yes,
out. Oh,
that was in fact Guy Talk. So that's pretty
God.
cool. So we have two cameos, Guy Talk and the showrunner of the show.
Well, and Dr. Ragabi at the beginning
Oh,
from
and Dr.
Severance.
Ragabi too from Severance. I like that. Yeah, these creatures were really awesome. All right, Ando, we have talked a lot about the Maginot. We've talked about the creatures, the xenomorphs. Let's talk about Wendy. Let's talk about Kid Cavalier. And let's talk about the whole part of we have basically these lost boys. Over the course of the first episode, we see that Wendy is a sick girl. Her parents have given her over to Boy Cavalier to be transferred into the body of a synthetic. after going through the process, she is then used as the guide, not Boy Cavalier, but her. Boy Cavalier is her guide. She then mimics him. Throughout all of this, we are given a multitude of references to Peter Pan. Not only do we see it play above the screen when she snaps her fingers, but
Yeah.
her name is Wendy and the other guy's name is Smee. Um, there, of
A bunch of them
course,
named after Lost Boys. Slightly, Curly, Nibs,
there you
Toodles.
go.
Those are all character names, and those are all
Oh,
Lost
they
Boys.
are. Yes, that's
Yep.
true. They all are.
Yep.
So there, we got all these character names, these sick kids who are supposed to be around the age of my son. My son is 12 years old.
Hmm.
What did you think? I want to talk about the problems first, Ando. Okay? Because everyone has loved this show, and we've been talking for almost an hour, and we've done nothing but positive things.
And
But
barely
now,
scratched the surface.
and
Yes.
we'll be on for the next 4 hours, folks. Join us here.
Yes.
Um, what did you think? First off, conceptually speaking, we understand they are put into adult bodies because synthetic bodies don't grow. They don't want to keep on transferring them up and up and up to different bodies, so they just put them in an adult body.
Yep. And the fact that children's brains are, I think they'll use the word malleable or
Yeah,
softer or something,
yes. Well,
so
this
they
is
can be
just like
formed.
Westworld.
Yep.
Certain people think about it, folks. If you woke up and you were in a different body, your brain may reject this idea. If you watched Westworld, you know this, and you've read tons of sci-fi, you've heard this before, right? Altered carbon or whatever. Some
Hmm.
people, some brains can't accept it, some can. It's like a sci-fi trope. And in this one, it's that the children can, but they also do say that they're special. So it's not just that they're children,
Yeah.
in my
Well, because
opinion.
they're shown to have super strength, and so I mean, you see her carrying around 4 or 5 people and jumping off a 50-foot cliff. They seemed very much like the cyborgs in a different way, but
Oh no,
very.
I mean Ando, I mean the kids were special. I think
Oh
there's
yeah.
something
Oh,
special
I see what
about
you
the
mean.
kids.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Okay.
I do. I think that there was something special about the kids before. Yes, they were all dying, but
Hmm.
there was something about them in particular that not only made them very malleable, very open to being transferred into a
Okay. I
different
didn't
body.
consider that. I'm gonna have to think on that. I like that. Yeah.
Now, I'm obsessed with this now because I love Foundation. And I'm reading this book about ESP and shit, Ando. But the idea that both technology, advanced technology, and extrasensory perception and telekinesis, other phenomena like that would rise up is kind of a sci-fi trope as well as
Oh yeah.
it's in many different things. But I think that might be an aspect here that there's something happening with humans that Boy Cavalier is tapping into that these kids' minds represent.
Hmm.
Just a theory, just a
Yeah.
theory.
No, I like that. I hadn't considered that. I just assumed it was, but that's not. You might be right on that. I could definitely see that. It would make sense because like the whole thing that he talks about saying, I want someone to challenge me and I want someone
Exactly.
he
Yeah.
would find I want anybody can recite like his little shot at AI like the anyone can recite a philosopher, but I need someone that can actually think or whatever that can't remember the exact line, but something
Well,
like
he
that.
says
And
that because he's talking about Kirsch.
yeah,
And the reason why we often get philosophical ravings, whoa, sorry, I hit my mic, from Kirsch is because it's stated in the show that his programming is a philosophy program mixed with
yeah.
like a service program.
And
So
he's supposed to be a teacher basically because
yes, he's
he
supposed to be a
even
teacher.
refers to what is
So
he refers to himself when they go to when they stop at the crash site and he's talking to the general or the colonel in charge, he refers to himself as the head chief scientist for Prodigy One. So
yeah.
he's definitely I mean he's definitely their guardian slash teacher. There's no question about that. So
But I think it does explain, for instance, why he gives that long kind of, it's not that long, but he gives a soliloquy to Wendy just before they land about, you were food.
Yeah.
right? It's
Oh,
because
that's
he's programmed to kind of be philosophical like that.
yep.
That's
I
part of
love
his
that
programming.
stuff.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
I love it too. But I love that they explain it
Hmm.
too. But Andy, this is the issue. They're not acting like 12-year-olds. Okay. I have a 12-year-old. I don't know how old Noah Hawley's kids are. Maybe they are more precocious or childlike than most 12, 11, or 12-year-olds. But my son, basically, I'm like, hey, how you doing? And he's like, huh? You know what I'm saying? Like 12 is not I know they're, they are they are precocious kids. Let's just put it that way. To me,
I
they're
actually
acting
didn't think they acted too far off from my 8-year-old, to be honest with you,
maybe eight, maybe seven, eight, but they're a
because
little.
specifically the conversation when what's his name? I can't think of what his name is. One of the Lost Boys that's with Wendy, and when they find Joe, and he just completely blabs out everything that's going on and can't keep a secret or anything. I was like, "Yep, that's
Yeah.
exactly how Luke is."
Okay.
That kind of
That's.
and the
You're
just
right. You're
raw,
right.
no keeping secrets of anything. That was the first thing I
I
was
guess
reminded a lot of Luke with these kids. So maybe they should have been 8 or 9 year olds or 7 year olds and not 12 and 13 year olds.
I'm going to let it go because they are also kids that have been sick for a very long time. Most of the
Hmm.
time, kids that have been sick actually act older than other
Yeah.
kids, but sometimes they do act younger because they've had their childhood taken away. They also have been transferred into synthetic bodies and the joy of being alive and being taken, but they've also been taken away from their parents. Time
Well,
it
and I
moved
mean,
different. Go ahead.
they're also seeing stuff that, like, can you imagine walking into a room like that
Yeah.
when you're 10 or 12 years old and seeing just a bloodbath and I mean,
But this is where the whole idea of why they were sent, they are, we see them being developed. It is a secret program. No one knows about this program.
yeah.
Wayland Yutani does not know about this program. Other people do not in the world do not know.
I get the impression that they would be under serious legal issues if, granted, if the corporations are running everything, what does it matter? But
What legal issues, Ando? There
yeah.
is no law anymore. They
Oh, well,
make the
and
law, right?
I know too, before we get too far off the age thing too, an interview with Sydney Chandler, she said that they worked like in the morning they would do military training. In the afternoon, they brought in a child psychologist to help train them to act like kids at that age and that have went through trauma. Don't know how accurate that is or not, but
Okay.
it's out
I
there.
I
We'll
like that
see.
she said who went through trauma.
Yeah.
So that's
I'm
what I'm saying. I'm not going to, this isn't going to bother me. I just want to mention it because it's been written about a lot.
yeah, I've
And
seen some
also,
people that aren't happy with it, but
right.
the other thing that I really caught it the second time, kind of like I did with the Ripley, basically an early cyborg. This is a way to bring a child back into this story that we haven't seen since Aliens, but you don't have to deal with the child actors.
Yeah.
Because Newt, I mean, it was such a huge, but I mean,
Oh God, Newt was so good.
and this is I mean, that's one of, and they're never, at least unless I'm forgetting something, there really isn't children in any other alien stuff that we've seen. So it's a way to bring those children. That's part of why I like this
Yeah.
idea is you're bringing that
Well,
childlike
yeah.
mentality back into this universe.
It's also a theme. I mean, we
Hmm.
know that the original Aliens had the whole scene with her finding out about her daughter having already
Yeah.
died and lived her whole life while she was,
Well, that's in the second one.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah. In Aliens. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so and then Newt becomes a surrogate for her, and then
Hmm.
later we have the Winona Ryder character, and so Ripley, and the whole idea, of course, of the alien being a metaphor for birth in itself, right?
Yeah.
Which is something that, right, like that I think is
And
interesting as well. It comes out of you like a child, it comes out of you, rips itself
and
out of
the
you.
and the hybrid stuff too. I mean, there's hybrid aliens in
Yeah.
Alien Resurrection, and there's hybrid
Yep.
things in Prometheus, or not Prometheus, well, Prometheus too, but in Romulus even had that stuff in it.
A
So
lot of
there's
good themes like that, and the mother daughter stuff. I think you're right. It does get allow us. Now I think in this respect it might be a little bit different. I like it. I think it's cool. I like the way they dealt with it. In particular, I thought the direction of the scene when they all transfer and they all start
oh
standing next to
yeah,
each other,
I thought that
watching
was
each other
great.
wake up,
Yep.
was brilliant.
Yep.
The the montages, this really, these two episodes could really be great for film school because he just takes out all the tools in his director kit:
Yes.
editing, practical shooting, all this crazy shit, and just does it the exact right way. You know what I'm saying? Like, even I am a stickler for when crossfade slash dissolves, call different thing, when it's proper, right?
Hmm.
So I would always use this example when I was teaching video production. A proper one is where the sun fades into a clock. Get it? It's both circles, it's
Yep.
both time. There you go. The person's
Yeah.
outside, they look up at the sun, the camera zooms into the sun, that fades into a clock, it pulls back out. There's a kid sitting in a classroom. Where's my
Yeah.
dad?
Yep.
He's in the desert, thinking about
Yeah.
you.
Uh-huh.
That is proper. Improper is when images and themes do not match. It's
Yeah.
just, they're just trying to mumble, they're just trying to throw to you. It's an editor saying, time went by. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying?
Just a cheat. Yeah.
Or it's a kid hit it on iMovie or somebody making
Yeah.
a slideshow.
Yep.
So this is all proper. If you look at it, not only do the images meld into each other, like something will be in the center and then in the other image they're on the sides,
Hmm.
but thematically it not only it communicates that too as well as time. So I
Well,
just wanted to
well, and
mention
those,
this.
yeah, like the fade things, like when they're open up from the cryo and all, which they use those fades a lot in the first Alien when they wake up from that cryo stuff, and it to makes total sense because they're going to be groggy, they're getting out of the dreams, they're coming into
Yeah,
the, it's perfect, yeah, it's great.
beautiful stuff. Um, So yeah, I thought that that was brilliant, showing how they all become these kids. The concept to me is this: Kid Cavalier is our Elon Musk, our super rich guy who
Boy
doesn't,
Cavalier,
boy Cavalier, I'm
and you
sorry.
know what? On some of the people that worked on it call him Boy K, which I kind of
Boy,
like
I
as a
probably said kid a million times
yeah,
because Kid Cavalier is a, isn't that a
it's something. I'm
yeah,
not sure
that
what though.
wasn't that book that was written? I had to look it up. Boy Cavalier. There is no. Oh man, I just created it in my mind. I thought that there was a Kid Cavalier story or something. Where? Oh,
It sounds like
that's
it
it.
should be. Maybe
It
they're
should.
just that good and
Oh, oh, maybe I'm thinking about that book, The Amazing Adventures of Cavalier and Clay. Did you ever hear about that? Did you ever
I
read
don't
that
think I
book?
know that one.
Oh, okay. That was a Michael Chabon.
Oh,
Chabon did
yep.
it. Yeah. Anyway, I'm sorry about that, folks. I often misspeak. I'm from New Jersey. So, Boy
We'll get it down
Cavalier,
by episode 5 or 6.
I'm just going to call him Cavalier.
Okay.
Cavalier, it doesn't give a shit about anything except moving forward, right?
Yep.
People, money, is all expendable, except maybe for time, because that's what he's
And
after.
yeah, that's what he's trying to conquer is time.
That's what he's trying to conquer.
Yep.
So the mentality of sending your more than $1 trillion first ever hybrid human consciousness synthetics to a emergency of a spacecraft crashing into a city on a whim, or
Yeah.
because one of them tells you that she wants to go rescue her brother. At first, I was it was one of those things where you're watching a show and like everything clicks and it's perfect, and then that happens and you're like, I I don't know, I got to move through this. But I did because I think that's who he is,
Yeah,
right?
he's hyper arrogant. I mean,
He's
he's
cavalier.
yeah. I I think there's one other possibility here too. And I didn't catch it until I don't know if I didn't hear
Oh,
it the first time or what, but the second time
I love it.
when Morrow is talking to I can't remember which one it is. One of the Marines I think that he meets up with, and he wants to know where Cavalier is. Is I'm wondering if Morrow either secretly has a deal with him, like he's not getting paid enough, his share wasn't big enough, like Yaphet Kotto's share wasn't big enough, and he wants to cut a side deal with him, and say, "Hey, I've got all this stuff. I can sell it to you, or I can get it for you," or if there was some other deal ahead of time where Morrow's the one who left all those things unleashed because he already has some deal with Cavalier. Do you think any of that is possible?
Well, based upon the fact that a guy secretly working for another company is a staple of the Alien
Yeah,
franchise, I would
that's
say I love this idea, Andy, that Morrow is somehow not, or maybe not Morrow, maybe it was someone else on the ship. Again, it's so fascinating because the ship was launched before Cavalier was even born,
yeah.
but he could have communicated with the ship. We don't know how
Mm-hmm.
that works.
Mm-hmm.
And if there's all, it sets up this corporate intrigue by the
Yeah.
fact that a Weyland-Yutani ship crash lands in a Cavalier-owned city. We have the whole confrontation between Yutani and Cavalier over their phones, which are awesome too. I love all the
Or
phones and the
or
radios.
is it possible that Wayland Yutani purposely crashed the ship there because they know they could it's on a in a controlled city by a like they're using it as a biological weapon to take out the other corporation.
Let him. That's. I could believe.
Any of those I think are on the
I
table.
Any of the things are on the table because that kind of corporate intrigue is a part of it. I think though, I don't know about the crash part.
Yeah.
I do like the part about someone being like a double agent or
Hmm.
corporate espionage happening. But there is another part of it, which is this. They knew that Wendy was watching her brother. And not only did they know that Wendy was watching her brother, but she exhibited powers or talents that they did not think she possessed.
Yeah.
Because what we forget is that Wendy does have a human consciousness, but she also is AI, is partly, she's like a human AI. They are interested not in saving this little girl. What they're interested in doing is using the human mind to augment AI. They
Yep.
want to make a better synth, right?
Hmm.
So, in order to make a better synth, throw it into the fire, see what happens. But also, I think that there may be something special about Wendy and her brother that Cavalier recognizes,
Yeah.
and they are letting her go save her brother. That mission, the mission to go get Joe, and the mission to get the alien creatures, whatever they may be, because I'm not so sure that Cavalier knows of the existence of the
Yeah.
xenomorph.
That's part of why I'm not sure if it
I
was a
don't think
planned
so.
thing. But the planned thing could be though Utani planning that, crashing their own ship on purpose into this other city. I do think that's a possibility, but we'll see.
It we will. And whether that you're right, and or Andy, how about this? Whether Morrow had a choice of where to crash
Yeah.
somehow, like when he wrote Lost Control, we don't know what happened before
Yeah.
that, right?
Yep.
So
And we don't know what messages they sent back or who he
yeah,
was actually talking
exactly.
to. And
Yeah. So
because
that's interesting.
I guess part of the reason I think that is because I think this show almost has to end with wherever this infestation is being nuked from orbit. To quote Bill Paxton again, take off and nuke the thing and nuke that area because we haven't seen aliens on Earth since then, and Whale Nutani is still chasing them
But we
at some
don't
point.
know that though, right?
Well, that's
Because
true.
we don't know that at all. We
Yeah,
think
you're
that.
right. You're
It's
right.
just like there's different people who still debate whether or not in Alien the distress signal or the signal they got was created by Weyland Yutani to send them to that
Yeah.
place
If
because
yeah,
they
if they knew,
knew
yeah,
that's where the engineer ship was, or it was a random
an
occurrence.
actual distress call. Yeah.
So I always thought it wasn't. I always thought, even I can remember by the end of that movie, not even by the end of it, all there is so much 70s, 80s like worker rights, union, like trucker. There's so much
Yeah.
stuff in Alien that, and it's very thick with that subtext that I remember thinking back when I watched it that the company sent them there on
Yeah,
purpose.
as soon as I saw Ash's true motivations and what Ash was, I've always been under the impression that that Wayland knew exactly what they were doing and
Yeah.
sending him there. They'd been searching for that ship for a long time, and once the
So
distress call came, it's like, nope, you're going there because we want what's there.
so it's it to if we continue down that vein, and then we think that Cavalier, for the same reasons, why are they going to this ship now? Because they're obviously not there to search and rescue.
Yeah,
And the other funny thing about it is the set piece of the ship crashing, the
that's
team
so amazing,
exercising on the roof, them going to
man.
go talk to Joe. Hey, what happened, Joe? And you're
That
kind of really
was
interested. It was
so freaking
amazing.
awesome. That whole first like 20 minutes is just mind blowing. I'm gonna
It
watch it again when we're done podcasting, I think.
I watched it 3 times and I was each time like this. I love it. Because first off, I love that the ship didn't crash in a jungle because the
Yeah.
aliens and Predator
Yeah, or
shit is
some
always in a
rural area
jungle.
or something. Yeah.
Yes, please. I love that it crashed in a city. It reminds me so much, an Asian Pacific city. It reminds me so much of Robotech. If people out there, Robotech, that's my favorite all time storyline world is Robotech. And in that, the SDF-1 crashes into like a Macross city. It's a whole
Hmm.
city, and the city actually forms around the ship. It's so large. This isn't that large, but the whole set piece of being inside of it, the crash, everything about it. Not only did it look spectacular, and I have a large television, folks. It did you watch this on your projector?
I have not. I'm going to, but I was not able to hook my projector up at the time, but I'm going to rewatch it on the projector. I just use my big TV.
It blew me away, man. And I
Yeah.
thought that it was
I
fantastic. The
think what I
idea
like too
for
about
it, everything.
besides just the look, crashing in a city is the stakes are so much freaking higher. Because like
Yeah.
even Kirsch says something about this is an invasive species. If it gets out, it could be bad news. If you're out in a rural area, you got a lot more time to contain the thing, and which they did in one of the AVP movies. They crashed like they was in a rural area, and the other one was in Antarctica, so there's no people there, and it's
Yeah.
being in a spot where there's 100,000 people or a million people or whatever it is. It's I just think that whole it's so much. I don't know. I just love it. I loved everything about it.
Yeah. And yeah, I don't agree. The Watch, and I've seen other people write about it. Oh, this has to end with the alien dying and no, it doesn't, motherfucker.
Yeah,
It
it
could end
doesn't. You're
with
right.
them capturing it and doing experiments on it and still sending Ripley out to go
Yeah,
and still the Nostromo and all. It does not it's not that's what I think is fun about this show. It's not wedded to this mythology in such a way that it hampers the storytelling because I have to tell you, I do not think Ridley Scott gives a fuck. He is not like a George Lucas or a George
no,
R. R. Martin. He's not like that.
no,
That's not how he acts over his creations. He
yeah,
is an artist and he says, "You create something, you know?
yeah,
Go with it." Like he's open. We saw it in Blade Runner. We saw it in like it's you
yeah. He's
could
not nearly as precious as some of those other
no.
creators are.
And that's so stupid when they are. Nothing is more annoying than being so wedded to your mythology or your fan service or
I
yeah,
guess
just create something.
part of why I think it will be destroyed is because I also think that the hybrids
It's
and
fun.
the well it's fun and the hybrids and the cyborgs I think will play a part in something going really really wrong and they're going to be end up being banned or something. And that's why we haven't seen them before in the universe. Especially cyborgs. I mean, hybrids could be blended in and we could be they could that wouldn't be a big deal, but cyborgs that's a big thing like guys that can put knives coming out of them and stuff. I think we would have seen that at this point. Why would you not send cyborgs on the mission?
Maybe I'm going to disagree with you there too, Ando. I think that I think that the the other films and the universe it can change like that. They could just
Yeah.
say, "Oh, they didn't have any of them in the prison. They were
Or they
banned
didn't have
from
enough
there."
money to make them or something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like there's always an explanation. But it does say something that the the opening crawl does say it is the fight for these things that will
Yeah.
determine which company controls the future. So you could hypothesized that Wayland Yutani controls the future and
Is the
Cavalier
wind.
does not,
Yeah. Or the
right?
other, there's still two companies. We don't know what Dynamic does. That's one of the company, and we
Yeah,
don't know what two of the other companies are at all.
yeah,
I mean, I wouldn't put these people past us to see the other two companies be the Tyrell Corporation and Cyberdyne, and
that
we
would be
just bring
awesome.
all the sci-fi worlds together at once. And
That'd be a lot of fun.
because well, as soon as I think Cyborg, there was multiple times where I'm like, that looks like Robert Patrick in T2, where he's doing
Yeah.
all this, which I'm freaking geeking out completely. But
Um, so to get back to the Wendy thing,
yes.
what are your thoughts in general? Because we should tell the audience as well as we go forward, because we did talk a lot about it on when we talk Westworld, other sci-fi stuff. But when we talk about synthetics like Kirsch, and we talk about hybrids like Wendy, do you think that they're human, Andy? Do you think they deserve the same rights? Do you think that they what what are your feelings on them?
From what we've seen so far, I would say definitely yes with Wendy. But we also, it's so new, we don't exactly know what, if this makes sense. You don't know if it's an actual, if it's just a copy of
Mimic,
someone.
right? Mimic
They
yeah.
just took our thousands of hours of podcasting and put that into somebody's brain and said, here they are. Like, do you just have part of that? Or is it actually the part of your brain that can grow and think? So we don't know. I mean, what we've seen so far, she seems like she's a person or the same as a person because she thinks she is and everything else. As far as Kirsch seems and the synthetics in general in this have seemed more cold and more, and he fits in right with Fassbender and Ian Holm and everyone else that's done him, where he feels like more robotic and more like a machine. I don't know if that means it's lesser, but I wouldn't consider him really a person at this point.
Okay. I am of the opinion that they are both just as human or alive. No, maybe not human, but alive
Yeah,
and
I would say they're alive for sure.
yeah,
I
and
don't know if
have
that makes them
this
human though.
but I feel like they have the same value as a human to me,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Because I am a big believer, and as AI develops and it becomes more powerful, and there's less mimicry and more it being alive, right?
hmm
I am going to be one of the people who's going to be like, robots have rights too, because I live in a world where I walk outside and 80% of the people I run into are a lot dumber than a computer would be.
Well,
Okay, so I don't, I just, I, and also the level of consciousness that different human beings have,
but like
just on
even
an
like the
individual
dumber thing
basis.
though, is it really any different from Kirsch saying like Boy K says at one time he just recites the philosophy. He's not the actual one thinking it. Is that any different than me reading off a paragraph from Wikipedia?
Well, that's the ultimate question that I
Yeah,
think is interesting to ask. And I question myself. I'm coming to it from this perspective. Will my perspective change? Will your perspective
yeah,
change? When does something become alive? And also, is there a different value that we assign to something that is human or something that is alien or something that is a mix or something that we created? I mean, if we have to go back, one of our people listening, if you're this deep into this fucking podcast, you watched Battlestar Galactica, the
yeah,
Moore version, not the original, you know.
yeah.
And
Ronald D. Moore,
so
yes, the reboot.
the idea that that represents too, that we will create something which we will become, right,
Yeah,
and not even know it,
yep,
is another idea that I think is completely fascinating because I've just, I don't, I guess it goes back to the whole Westworld thing, right?
yeah.
Where
That's what
you
I keep thinking
can't,
about Dolores. Like at the end of that series,
right,
I'm like, she might not be human, but she's alive. There's no question about it, I don't think. So,
right. Is she the shadow we see out of the cave, or is she really the
yeah.
human, right? Like,
And
what
that's
is it that we're seeing?
it seems to me like it's almost a new thing. Because really, I mean, the title alien could refer to the
Her
hybrids too.
too.
Yeah.
Yes,
So
alien. That's
it's
why
like
I
a
think
new species, not
that's why I
human.
think this show is called Alien Earth. And that's why
Yeah.
in the beginning we were talking about like why I wanted to say there's five things that are alive, right?
Yep.
Like because it's basically kind of trying to say like Earth is now full of aliens,
Hmm.
right? It's not, they didn't just come from outer space. We made them too. And also, by the way, maybe we're aliens too.
Yeah.
Like, what have
Well,
we become as we
we're aliens to
transcend?
them. I think there's another line when we first meet Kirsch and he's talking to when she's still Marcy about the scorpion. And he's like, "How would you feel if all of a sudden you're running around in here and there's two big
Yeah.
giants that are talking next to you and it's like all about your perspective." And I thought that I everything that Kirsch says in this, I love. I think he's one of the most, well, obviously Tim Oliphant's not going to be in a nothing role, but just his everything he says in here is just, I mean, really fun to think about.
Well, if I I just listen, man. It's like they created the cowboy and then they just made him because he just, even though he's a robot in this, still while you watch him walking, the way his legs, he
Yeah,
looks like he has two guns on his hips. He just
he's.
always ends up looking like a cowboy, but I
I will
love him
die on this
in
hill that
this.
he
He's
needs to play
amazing.
Roland Deschain. He needs to play Roland for
He
crying
would
out loud.
he
Mike
would be the
Flanagan,
best ever.
get
Of
Oliphant.
course. Yeah, that would be, without it, there's no question about that, dude.
Yeah.
He would, and he has the depth for it. But I love him in this role
Yes.
because a lot of times he does play him. He
Mm,
plays into what he looks like, his type. And we've talked about this with Heath, who is an actor, one of our, of course, esteemed hosts here, where you have a type. When you're an actor, you need to know your type. You don't try to not act that way. You
yeah.
want to get a role. And when you see, when it's tall, lanky, cowboy looking motherfucker, Timothy Oliphant is number one on the call sheet. Okay,
And
folks?
you know what makes him an even greater actor is he is like a big swimmer, surfer guy from Hawaii. He swam in college. Like his personal life is very different than what these roles he plays, but amazing
But that
actor. I just love
helps
him.
too because he is a great with his body.
Yeah.
He is a very
Yeah, his
physical
physical,
actor.
yeah, for
Even
sure.
if he's not doing something like running, jumping, fighting, the way he moves his face, like even you look, he pays attention to how he holds his mouth
Yeah.
all the time. He sometimes he opens it just a little
Yep.
and then he smiles. He's really a great actor, folks. This is
Yeah.
not just bullshit. Like
Yeah.
when you sit in a mirror and you do that shit. And I think he brings this character that he's not a cowboy, that he's a synthetic, and he looks weird. He has dyed eyebrows, and it's the most different thing he's ever done in his career.
Yes.
Is because he has played the wacky like stoner kind of guy. He's
And he's
played
played serial killer. I mean, he's played
serial
everything.
killer, uptight, but this is
Yeah.
a real departure for him. And
Hmm.
I think he's perfect. And
Yeah.
the character of Kirsch, he is arguing that Wendy is not a human.
Yeah.
He is
Well,
not
and
a human.
there's some interesting stuff. We haven't mentioned her yet either. Dame Sylvia, like the other head
Right.
doctor at
Yep.
Neverland, and they kind of have this give and take where, like he only wants to concentrate on the computerized synth side of her, and she wants to maintain the humanity. And it's an interesting
Yes,
pull.
it is.
And I didn't catch this the first time either, but the head tech is her husband. They work together. They're married.
Oh,
Arthur Sylvia.
okay.
He's the one like
I know
when
exactly who you're talking about. They
yeah,
gave him personality on
when she
purpose.
has the
Yeah.
headphones on and
Yep.
she takes them off, that's her husband, Arthur. So
It's very interesting, Andy. Now she's mom. Cavalier is Peter Pan, and Kirsch is Tinkerbell,
so then who is Captain Hook?
the xenomorph.
Oh, okay, the xenomorph is Captain Hook. Yes, I suppose they both have metal in them. I guess that makes
Yeah.
sense, right?
They, what does Captain Hook do? He steals one of the Lost Boys. He
Yeah,
he kidnaps them, right? Remember,
yeah.
he kidnaps the actually ends up kidnapping all of them. He kidnaps the Lost Boys. What does the xenomorph do at the end of episode two? Kidnaps the Lost Boy. And I think
Right.
that I really think I was thinking through it that Kirsch is Tinkerbell. He is the little guide, right?
Hmm.
He's alien too, but he's like their guide. He's something wholly different, right? He
He's
doesn't.
almost like a chorus even on where he's kind of narrating what's going
Yeah,
on to the characters that don't the
that's
children that don't
kind of
really
what
understand.
Tinkerbell is in the. If you
Yeah.
think about it, the way
Hmm.
the play is written, and everyone should know, okay, I don't want you to get too excited, Andy, that you're on the podcast with me. But in
Too late.
okay, in seventh grade at FM Gardner Middle School in Springfield, New Jersey. I guess people are now going to be able to get into my bank account. I never use that for anything, but it doesn't matter. I did star as Captain Hook in our play that Mr. Hansen, who I am still friends with on the Facebook, love the guy. He's amazing, beautiful person. I played Captain Hook, so I'm well familiar with Peter Pan, except for the part in the beginning of the show when you told me they were all named after the Lost Boys, and I didn't catch that. But regardless,
That's only because I looked at the cast, like the
I know.
cast listing, and then I googled who are the Lost Boys, and every one of them came up. I'm like, oh, okay. It had been a long time. I mean,
I
I've
remember
actually,
Smee though. I remembered Smee.
well, I had
That
seen
was
it not
Jessica
too long
Clayton.
ago, but
Jessica
yeah.
Clayton, my sister's best friend growing up, our friend of our family. She played Smee. I remember Smee.
Well, and
I remember all the songs, everything.
they really don't say their names that often in this show either, so it's hard to pick up on what they're actually, unless you happen to
They
read their name patch.
and they also had two names, right? Because they had a different name first, and then they
Yeah,
gave them the new names when they woke
yeah.
up as hybrids.
Hmm.
So getting back to Kirsch as Tinkerbell, I thought that this whole thing of them being willy-nilly sent out, they're like fucking around in the helicopter. He's
Yeah,
sitting there like, what the fuck is going on? I'm telling you, at first it did kind of throw me, but I grew upon rewatch to love it. And even within the first part, when it really hit me, was when they found the hanging plant.
yeah,
And the way that Kirsch was saying to them, like, study this. I'm going to need you down there and I'm going to need you over here. It just occurred to me, oh, I get it. They just do what they want. Like,
yeah,
they, they don't care. There's no, you would think that there would be hundreds of emergency workers and vehicles surrounding it, securing the building,
yeah.
doing all this shit. But there doesn't seem to be, because it seems like Cavalier and Kirsch are so intellectual. They're so one-minded of pushing progress and technological and growth and science. They don't give a fuck about anybody else or anything else.
Well, and one of the interviews I read or listened to said something that Boy K is kind of this, he's one of these guys that had, you get to a certain point of richness where that's not an object and you can just do whatever you want and you never
Yeah,
have to think about it. You can just, if you think of something, you just go do it. You don't even have to think of the consequences of it. You just can just,
exactly.
because you've got enough to do it. Yeah, it's,
Well,
yeah,
this is, I think that's why I find this to be so prescient. And it's also a moment when you're watching a show when you're like, gosh, what does this remind me of? I don't know. Wait, hold on a second. Real life. A
yeah,
bunch of really rich asshole motherfuckers doing whatever the fuck they want to the masses who also, for some reason, worship them
yep,
and buy cyber trucks.
yep.
You know what I'm saying? And think it's cool to have a Tesla or some shit, or go to Elon Musk's LA diner and wait outside for that. Like, there is a sucker born every minute, and the world is full of suckers, and the internet has turned us all into suckers. And this
It's
show,
exposed everybody
it
too. That's,
exposes you. And so when
yeah,
you see something crazy like that happen in a show, you're like, oh, that wouldn't happen. And then you think about real life and you're like, oh, no, wait, that's who's deciding the decisions in Washington, D.C. today.
yeah,
Like this, and people think it's great. And you're like, what the fuck? That it can exist. So I think that is purposeful. Like you're saying, how Howley takes real
yeah.
life
I
stories
think
and
his exact words were, I like to, I'll take the stuff and whatever's in the zeitgeist at the moment, I will mold that into what I'm making. And
that's what is happening. And that's how I came to be okay with this hugely important plot point, which in the beginning kind of it kind of rankled me a little bit. And I think it did a lot of people because a lot of reviews I read said that. Like, why would you send your $1 trillion hybrid that has never been existing in humanity before, to some
But
danger
I,
zone?
like I said, why would you spend $50 billion on a social media platform that you have no experience in either? I mean, it's the same to me, it's the same thing as that
It
kind of
is.
stuff. So
It is. And I think that's interesting to see though, because Kirsch is a synthetic. And we don't know, we see his program as philosophical, whatever. He doesn't seem to always agree with Cavalier.
he
He seems
doesn't,
to be the adult in the room or
but
trying to act that way.
he also just smiles and walks away though. Even
That's
though it
true.
look so it's I can't recall if we've ever had a synth go against his programming before. I don't think we have. And
Well, it
that's
would seem to me, though, that Cavalier would be the type to not give him that programming,
well, that's true. You're right.
right? You know what I'm saying? Like he said, I want to be challenged. I thought that was interesting to me. Now, we can talk all we want, and about the real life stuff, which we're not cool with. But I do think that conversation was cool from his perspective. I kind of understood where he was coming from, where he's like, I want to be challenged. I want something to, you can, we all have that in ourselves. We all want, right? We want to
Yeah.
be challenged. We want to learn. If you are a person like that who has a thirst like that, it's just that for him, human beings, emotion, reality, he will not let that stand in the way.
No.
There's no consequences
I
to
think the only
his
reason he even
actions.
wants them to have emotions and memories is because he thinks it will improve the synth.
Exactly. I agree with you. He's not
And
trying to
to
save kids or anything
and to
like
make
that.
it so he can do it to himself probably and live forever.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just like Peter Wayland was doing in Prometheus, the
Yeah.
same
Yeah.
exact thing.
And that guy in that Netflix
Oh, yes.
documentary.
Yes.
And like so many other people. Um, the one thing, so I guess I should say that was the one thing that I had an issue with plot wise. Otherwise, I thought once we got to the ship and we have we know Wendy's backstory, we know Joe's backstory. Maybe we should talk a little bit about Joe. What did you think about his backstory, the baseball stuff? We see the Reggie Jackson stuff later. You're a baseball fan. What did you think about his character, him, and his whole plight?
I was I don't know. I think he's fine. He seemed to me like he was one of the I don't want to say least interesting, but not as interesting as everyone else in the I mean, he's fine so far, but I need a little bit more with him. I thought the baseball stuff was neat. I liked it, but it wasn't something that because it's background stuff. But I
Yeah,
thought he was the element I was least the character I was least involved with. I guess if that makes sense.
interesting. Yeah, I kind of dug him. I thought that they did a good job of establishing that he didn't really want to be on this
Hmm.
emergency response team, that the emergency response team didn't really want him with them, that they felt he was an impediment. They call him Hermit,
Yeah.
right?
Well, that's his
They
last
don't
name, I
call him
think.
Joe. Oh, is their last names Hurt? Oh, I thought that was just another
When he
clever
goes to the
nickname.
computer to ask to be discharged, it says Joe Hermit.
Oh, okay. So I think I think that I mean this show is full of crazy names, which I love.
Yeah. I might be wrong on that, but I'm pretty sure it says Joe Hermit.
It fits either way. But
Yeah.
they did establish that they didn't really want him around. In particular, there was a one woman who was looking at him, and then they went up to talk to him. Now we find out later that he wanted to fulfill a promise to his father that he would become a doctor, and he got into medical school, but he needs to be discharged six
On
months
Mars, a
early.
medical school on Mars, I
On
believe it said too.
Mars, yeah. So it's Wayland Utani
Yes, was that who it was that I had in the notes that are in charge of that?
who owns
Yes, Wayland
Mars.
Yutani in charge of Mars and Saturn. Yep.
Interesting. But he's
And he's currently
working
working for Prodigy.
for Prodigy. And he asked to get out. Now, were you under the impression? I think later Wendy lets it slip a little bit, but I've been reading some reviews that didn't catch this. I think she changed the computer's response and made him stay because
She
she didn't want him to go to Mars.
she 100% did because there's
Yeah.
something later and she's kind of said and it kind of gets cut off, but if you have the captions on, she says, "I'm sorry, I just didn't want to let you go," or something like that. And
Yes.
it's
That's
yes,
it. I
she is
love it.
responsible for keeping him there. And between that and Tim Oliphant earlier saying or Kirsch earlier saying, "Your brother's gonna die." I got a bad feeling Joe is not gonna make it through this season.
Well, the other thing of Joe surviving three times of an alien that seems to destroy everyone in its path indiscriminately in 3.2 seconds
Yeah.
is a little fishy. And again, it goes back to, is something special about Joe? Is
Mm,
something more special about Wendy? I referenced before that Cavalier, they got excited when she did that. They were watching
yeah.
when he was at the computer and
Yeah.
Wendy was watching him and she was able to manipulate
Yeah. She
the
does this like
computer.
Neo in the Matrix kind of stuff going on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she can mind meld with it because she's a
Yep.
fucking computer too. And that's what made them so interested in letting her continue this journey to see how her powers, because
And
the connection with her brother is seeming to make her powers stronger.
and that whole thing, that whole sequence, kind of like what you were saying before, how some people had an issue with him sending his $1 trillion robots into this thing. To me, that what just that whole thing too. He's more way more of a let's just see what happens kind of guy, which is because
Yeah,
why would he be doing that too? Why would he be allowing her full access to all their computer stuff and all that? And I think he's that's just
exactly.
his mentality of well,
That
let's
is
let's
the
see what happens
mentality.
and figure it out later.
That's like the Chat GPT dude being like, "Oh, I don't know if we should let this into the real world. It could destroy the world. But guess what? It's coming next Thursday. Buy it for 5.99." You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? It's like, fuck you, dude. He is just gonna be like, do it, right? Like, let
Yep.
the AI have the internet.
Yep.
Let's see what happens, folks. This could
Yeah,
be
he's a let's
fun.
see what happens kind of guy, for better or worse.
That's why I do have a secret theory
Oh, let's
that
do it.
Wendy and these, why did they want the xenomorph? To make weapons. What are Wendy and these Lost Boys? They're essentially weapons.
Yeah,
I think
100%
that
they
one of
are.
the thing is that they might almost be kind of trying to make a, maybe he wants to try to put a human consciousness in a xenomorph, or he wants to try to
Well, and
make a one, or make
the
her
question
be
with
as
that though
strong
is
or learn
the
from it.
we don't I mean, unless one of my crazy crackpots from before, we don't think he knows that the xenomorphs exist yet.
Not yet. Yeah, I'm talking
But that
later.
could be a season
Yeah,
2 or 3 thing
yes.
for sure.
Or maybe even episode 4 or 5. He
Yeah,
moves quick, Ando. Like you
that's true.
said, he makes a
You're right.
decision. He does it.
Yeah, he doesn't.
So
Yeah,
yeah,
there's not a lot of research. Let's just go.
yeah, exactly. I like the Joe stuff. I thought the cool thing about him watching the Ice Age movie
Yeah.
on hanging on the curtain was also, folks, to build that room like that and get that shot, that was very expensive for a 3 second shot. This show cost a lot of money. Every time I keep thinking about it, I'm like, wait a second, we only saw that set for 1 second. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? And they built, like, wow. I like the Joe stuff. I thought
Like
like
I
the
say,
whole,
I liked it. It just wasn't as interesting as the rest of the stuff here,
yeah,
and that
I
may
want to
change for
know.
me.
Yeah, I want to know more about Joe. I thought it was interesting. The whole baseball shit. It was like, okay, Reggie Jackson's cool. I'm from Jersey. You know what I'm saying? All the other stuff, his backstory was good. I wasn't particularly, I'm actually like his team, and I kind of wanted to see him more with the team too, kind of.
Yeah.
But I'm, he is. One thing I did want to mention, because I really like the actor, and I like
Hmm.
that the actor, I've seen him in other stuff, and
Hmm.
he does play almost like sickly guys, like little dudes a lot, because physically he does seem really kind of small.
Yeah.
But wow, what a physical! I like when he was running from it and everything, and they were jumping in the air, and it like grabs, like
That
it
scene,
was
that scene in the
wow.
stairway
Yeah,
where the black hole's above him and you hear the alien sound and he jumps and that whole that was pulse pounding. That was awesome action
it,
in that
it was
scene.
awesome. and he
Yeah.
was awesome too. That's what I liked. It reminded me of Newt.
Oh,
Um,
yeah.
you know what I mean? Like how she was so good at running away from the alien. He's
Yep.
kind of like her, right? But he does escape like twice, and then the third time the alien grabs him and goes. Now,
Jumps out the window. Yeah.
come on. I mean, what do we think's going to happen? Like they fall and one goes this way and one goes the other way, or, I don't know, but he does seem to be able to survive the alien a lot.
Well, and
Just saying.
if there's something special about him, we know if you know alien lore, they don't always eat all humans. Some humans they take
Ah,
to
yep,
be food for the facehuggers.
they
Or not
do.
food, but to be impregnated by facehuggers. Maybe if and the alien we have known can sense things, like in Alien 3 when spoiler, Ripley has an alien inside of her, he knows to not kill her. The alien knows that and lets her go because he knows that there's a queen inside of her.
Yeah,
Not saying there's a queen inside of Joe, but if there's something special, like your theory that something is special about these two, the alien may be able to sense that. And even
yeah,
Morrow says to those Marines, like, be calm. They feed on fear, or whatever he says. So the
yeah.
aliens, I think, they've already kind of established that they're more intuitive than just a pure predator. So
Interesting, Andy. I like that. I like the idea you said too that they take and capture humans. And what did we see? We saw the scene when they come upon the eggs. The alien seems to know, right?
yep,
Is it notified by them breaking the light, the
I think
glowing
so.
light, neon light,
Well,
right?
I think maybe what happens is I think when that light is crossed, I'm guessing those eggs are sending something out, and that my guess is that light laser field holds in a pheromone or holds in a
Oh,
ESP thing or whatever it's using. And when that contact is broken, all of a sudden it lets that signal out, and it
yeah.
signals the Xeno that there's eggs here. Is my guess.
But it might also signal I need a host. My
Yeah,
babies are about to
yeah, or whatever
hatch.
the yeah.
So it saw the opportunity and grabbed Joe. He'd be a good host too.
I
That could
did
be something.
like when they because it's been I know a lot of people complained about Prometheus and the scientists being dumb. I loved that Joe puts his head right over the alien egg, and I mean I'm like oh no, and he backs away before something happens
Yeah.
instead of the actual thing that we've seen repeatedly in this series where somebody leans in and oh I'm getting kissed by a facehugger. So
Yeah, that was good. Yeah, I thought all that stuff was super cool, and I think that's a good idea that that alien is taking him to have him serve as a host,
hmm
or it knows that it sees I need backup, basically.
yep,
You know, I've got all these. Here I am. I've crash landed. Got all these things coming after me. I need a friend to help
yeah,
me through.
hmm
Let's see. Let me. Okay. No, I think I mentioned it. Well, Ando, I don't know. We're at the 147 mark here. We did not talk in order, but I feel like we talked about. I mean, we didn't go through a lot of the action sequences. I loved when they jumped on the step. I mean,
Yeah,
everything was
that step jumping, or even the
so
chase when he
cool.
goes around the corner and goes into the elevator and stuff. I love that whole
Yeah.
chase, and I
And when
love
they
even
turn
though
the corner and the marks are in the wall.
yes, or the even on the Maginot at the beginning, and you don't really see all of it, but when she's banging and she's like, "Let me in, Mara, let me in," and you see the alien like tackle her from the side through that little window, even that little stuff,
Yeah.
or you see after it crash lands and you see where he is in that little hidey hole thing, and you just the gashes on the wall on the door where the alien was trying to get in, and yeah, the action and some of that stuff is so awesome in this,
I agree.
so good.
Um, Looking ahead, we do not get screeners, nor if we did, we would just wait. We've gotten screeners before, and anytime we ever get screeners, I always end up just watching at the same time everyone else does. Maybe it's because we started out doing after shows like directly after the show ended. But I just feel like I don't know. I never asked for screeners, but anyway, we
You
don't
know,
have screeners.
there was one other thing I was going to ask you about because I've seen a few minor complaints about it.
Oh,
and
okay.
it's the use of Peter Pan and the use of like media from our time in this. What do you think about that in general on this show?
I like it. I think it's okay. I think it is 100 years in the future. Peter Pan is,
Or Ice Age even. I've seen people complain, why did they use Ice Age?
yeah, but the difference between Peter Pan and Ice Age is like 50, 60 years.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's like 50 years. So
And
I don't have a problem with it at all.
because I've seen some people saying, well, they're so far in the future, and it really kind of annoys me. And to me, it says that if you have that complaint, you haven't really paid attention to the Alien franchise. And the first Alien, at the very end, when Ripley's running away and we got the strobe lights and all that, she sings a song from Singing in the Rain to calm herself down. And in
Yeah.
Prometheus, David is obsessed with Lawrence of Arabia. So pop culture from our time lives on, and I just wanted to say it because I knew some people had complained about the use of pop culture
It's
from our time, and
also,
it's a staple of
again,
this series. So
we have to remember this show is not created as if it is a show made in 2025 about an old show. This show
yeah,
is created like it was created during the same time that Aliens was made.
yeah,
So,
goddamn,
in
that's so
that
cool. Yeah,
perspective, maybe Ice Age hadn't happened yet. I'm just kidding.
yeah, yeah. Let's
I
twist
just
into
mean to
pretzels as much
say,
as we can.
you're right, Andy. It's
Well, and
part of the lore. It's part. I didn't have a problem. I don't
you're right what you're saying too, because one of the things that Holly has said in one of the interviews was we're trying to create this as if it was being made in the late 70s and early 80s. So
know.
this series,
And
so
I think I also think that you could very easily, as many shows do these days, as a great show Murderbot did,
yes.
and for the show, have like an entire fake TV shows or
Hmm.
fake cartoons or as other shows have done. They could have done that if they wanted to.
I
But
like it like this
yeah,
personally,
it
but
communicates to us. We are watching it, okay, folks? We're allowed to understand that. Guess what? I hate to break it to everyone. I don't want anyone to get upset when I say this. It's not real. It's a television show, folks, okay? It's created as art. People made it and they made it for with a purpose. And if they want to communicate an idea, and this idea communicates it, they do it. So I think it's getting a bit too meta to be complaining about them using two things that do actually take place a wide time apart. Ice Age was like what, 1980 something, 1990 something,
yeah, late 90s,
and what was that Peter Pan cartoon?
60s or 50s probably. Yeah.
That's a good amount of time. Okay, maybe it's 30, 40 years, but that's a good amount of time, you know? So, and maybe later on we'll see, the adventures of Farfignugan, the new, whatever cartoon he wanted. If he had created it, people would have been like, that was dumb.
Yeah.
Why didn't he just use Peter Pan?
Yeah. You're
So
right.
I don't really. And I mean, was the Peter Pan stuff a little too much in the beginning? Hey, you know what? It was maybe a little bit, but that's okay because I
Yeah.
think that there's a fantastical idea happening here. And as we move forward, what's going to happen? Where are we going to go? The screeners thing. We don't get screeners. I don't look at coming attractions.
Yeah.
I don't
Me
look
either.
at next on. I don't know any spoilers. Andy and I will not know any spoilers about this television show going forward. Um, I think, if I was to make a guess, I think that Wayland Yutani is going to try to get to this ship.
Well,
And I,
and I would actually go against what I had said about Morrow being in on it because after he wakes up, he sends a message. He says, "Mother, I'm going to go to the armory until reinforcements get here." So he's called for
yeah,
reinforcements already.
he's
So,
telling him what's happening. And
yep,
remember, I'm going to secure the ship. And that's
yep,
why he ties up Guy Talk and the other
yeah,
person as a part of our
poor
team.
bastards.
Right. And then, of course, when he grabs the alien, then the other. So he's still out there. We didn't see what happened to the gun, though.
Yeah, I think what he says though is like it's something I have it somewhere here. I think it's specimens contained. I'm going to go hunt for the fugitive or something, or hunt for the escapee or something. So I think he's got the other one. He thinks he has the other ones contained, which he doesn't because we've seen that tick has been
Ah,
getting stuff,
yes,
but
yes.
I think he said something about going to try and find the to Mother. He talks to Mother again at the right before the last time we see
Right.
him, I
So he
think.
has his gun. He has his weapon
Yep.
back because it was right down on the ground. They show us that it's still there on
Yep.
purpose. There's a big fat old shot of just that gun really
Hmm.
quickly while when the when the Prodigy soldiers arrive,
Yep.
or team arrives. So we've got him out there. I think Waylon Yutani's going to want it. I don't think she gives a shit what he said. They're going to try to infiltrate
Yeah.
New Siam to get there to the
Well, and
ship.
there's even a conversation that I can't remember if it's with Boy K talking to Utani or talking to his other right-hand man saying that basically implying that there could be a war or a physical battle here
Right.
if
Yep.
which it's just fascinating too that of course if corporations are ruling the world, of course they're each going to have their own military and their own which is just which we knew
And
already, but it's seeing it in a very different way than we did in Aliens.
there's three other companies
Yeah.
that may come into play here wanting a piece of whatever this technology is because again, they all know that this ship launched in 2055. This is a
Yep.
long-term, long-time mission. So whatever is on this ship is valuable.
Hmm.
They don't have, we don't know how many other ships were sent out at that time. We don't know what technology they've been able to bring back from other
Yeah.
worlds. You know, they might be waiting another 20 years for a ship like this to land on Earth.
And
So the fact that it crashed makes it even better. They can kind of get, it's chaotic.
And my kind of guess, at least with how the series is probably going to go, is he said they want to go 4 or 5 years. My guess is this will be Prodigy versus Wayland Yutani, and then we'll start bringing in the other corporations as we go. To me,
Yeah.
because five corporations, what could it could do the Game of Thrones thing? Because how many families were there? 5 or 6, wasn't it? So maybe it is going to be like Game of Thrones, where it's the corporations instead of the
Yeah.
families going at each
Yep.
other.
And we get to see more cool. We didn't even mention the whole Neverland Island that
Yes.
Cavaliers. I love that. That was so cool. And Siam,
Hmm.
it's like New Siam. It's so awesome the way everything looks. The shots are great. So yeah, we could have other people coming. Obviously, Wendy wants to go rescue her brother. What's going to happen there?
She does have a
Kirsch.
fun line there right after it's like right at the end, and she talks to one of the other Lost Boys and says, "Stay here, guard the omelet," which I thought that's kind of hilarious, calling those eggs an omelet because no one in their right mind would want that omelet.
Yep, we got the eggs about to open. We've got yeah, who else could arrive as far as other reinforcements too from Prodigy?
Hmm.
What are they gonna do with if Kirsch can get the eyeball thing or the plant, or how are they gonna get them out? Are we gonna get into other I feel like they didn't just introduce these other and there's more too. There's not just a couple things. There's gonna be more we haven't even met yet. I don't think you just put them there for fun. I think we're going to
No.
have other interesting things happen with these
Yes.
creatures that may involve the hybrids. I like the different hybrids too. How one kid wants to be a scientist. We have the scared girl. We didn't talk much about the other ones, but they have personalities that we could develop
And
further as well.
we assume because we've never seen the Xenos go after synthetics before, we assume that they won't, but that doesn't mean one of those other species might not
Yeah,
go after the synths and combine with them. So yeah, there's a lot of cool stuff could happen here, I think.
definitely. All right, Ando. Well, listen. I don't know if we covered everything at every scene, and I'm sure we didn't. There's always going to be things we miss, but I think we did do good with the themes and the ideas and what we're dealing with here. And overall, man, I love this. I think we made a great choice to cover
Yes.
this show. I can't wait for people to hit us up at dvrpodcast@gmail.com. Send us an email. Tell us what you think. We'd love to get a lot more feedback going. We did have some feedback from our Facebook group, which I'm going to try to include each and every week in the show. I think I was pretty good with that on Duster, man.
Yeah.
I don't think I missed any weeks doing usually in the beginning or at the end of the show. Like to go we put a post up. It's Daily DVR, a TV and film podcast. Pretty easy to find over there on the Facebook. And I usually make a featured post, you know. So Alien Earth, what did you think? That's a pretty easy answer.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna tell everybody what people thinks just as soon as my slow ass fucking computer
Well,
opens
here
up.
I've got it up. I
Oh, I
can.
got it. I got it.
Okay.
James, our great friend, our super patron, original OG listener, our grandpa James says, Xenomorph monster goodness. Gareth, host of Dissecting Dexter, who actually had a character on
Character
Dexter
in the show. That blows my mind.
named after him. The character
Yes.
Gareth on Dissecting Dexter, on Dexter,
And he
Dexter
recently had
Resurrection.
recently the
Yeah.
showrunner on his podcast too.
Amazing, amazing. Gareth said, really enjoyed it and appreciated the level of horror. Awesome. Amrat says, so far, good. I like it. Joe Bear, who, by the way, folks, I don't want to out anyone live on a show, but he'll be joining us
But you're
not in
going to.
Portland. Yeah. Joe Bear is coming. He's coming here. This is the official announcement. He's coming to not in Portland in less than a month, and we're going to be doing live podcasts. We're going to be doing a live episode 5 of Alien Earth from my house with Andy and Joe, and hopefully Heath and Brett too. Maybe all 5 of us doing episode 5 of Alien Earth live. That's going to be awesome. He says, absolutely loved it. So many interesting ideas, and the blending in of elements from across the Alien canon felt seamless. I'm locked in. Joe Bear, what a great comment.
Hmm.
Manny, our good friend Manny and New York Jets fan, says it looked and felt just like the first Alien. I loved it. Manny, you're the man, dude. We got to get around the couches coming back. Jets, Manny. Jets, love it. So we had good feedback there. We'd love to get some feedback again. DVRpodcast at gmail.com. Anything else
And
you
it
want to say, Andy?
I was gonna say it should be a little easier too, because with 2 episodes, it's harder to dig into everything. So with only 1 episode a week now, it should be a little bit more because this was basically like a full-length movie we talked about. So it's the 1 episode a week is gonna be nice because if every episode is like this, where it's all the stuff going on, it's gonna be fun to talk about every
Yeah,
week.
it's going to be very fun. I love it. Thank you all for listening. If you like this show, go to dvrpodcast.com. Give us a review. Rate us on Spotify, iTunes, Apple Podcasts, Acast, wherever you find us. Please rate us. Share us with your friends. We really appreciate you. Become a patron at patreon.com/DVR. And maybe if we get enough patrons, Andy and I can get Cybertrucks. You know what I'm saying, Andy? It could happen.
Sure. Or implant. I wouldn't mind having a knife that I could just pop out of my arm at moment's notice too.
How about if we could have a brick separator put into our fingers, Andy?
Oh, I like that.
A Lego brick separator,
Yeah.
and then just pop things
Well,
off.
how about this? When I'm there a couple weeks from now, I'll bring some duct tape and I'll just wrap one around your arm. It'll be
There we
close
go.
enough.
Well, robot arm, folks. We all
Yes.
want a robot arm. Maybe we can afford it. Go to patreon.com/DVR. And sincerely, patrons, we love you. You're awesome. So many different people. You're really beautiful. That's what keeps the lights on. That's what keeps us going. We really appreciate it. Hey, if you want to advertise on the show, hit us up too. We'll do it. You know, if you have a product you want to hawk, as long as it's, decent, it doesn't hurt anybody. We do want to vet those products. Though robot arms, if you make robot arms, you can advertise on this show.
Yes.
DVR podcast. Oh, subscribe to us on YouTube, and we'll be back soon. Around the Couch is starting. We are also going to be covering. It's coming up quick, Andy. That's less than a month away too. After you guys get home that same week, later that week, we have to record our first episode of Task,
Oh, that's
the
right.
Mark Ruffalo starring crime thriller detective cop fun show that we're going
It's
to be
going to be
covering on HBO.
a busy couple of months here.
And you have a job too. You've got to mow your
Ah,
lawn.
stupid job. Yeah.
all like 50 acres of the lawn you have, Ando.
Yeah, something like that.
All right. Well, thanks everybody. You're the best, Andy. This
No,
was
you're the
very fun.
best. Yeah.
Oh, thank you.